Hello, everyone. It is the final episode of Daily Betslip for the year 2022. It is myself. It is Reed Wallach. Yeah, no show tomorrow or Friday, so this is it. This is the last episode of 2022. We'll be back in 2023, but we got a lot to talk about on the show today, including our bold predictions for 2023. Sports bold predictions. Let's try to keep politics out of it, Reed. I know you're a big politics guy, but
yeah, really, you don't want to hear mine. No, I'm just messing around. No, we're all good. Honestly, most things, any bold predictions I'd have for this coming year would probably be sports related anyway. So, pumped for the show. If you just cashed a Duke winner, I think that game should be wrapping up. Congrats, we crushed that. Mentioned on this show, Duke at pick closed like 3.5. Pretty much relatively no sweat. They went up. It was 7-7. Now it was 23-7. Now 23-13 with 3 minutes left. They have goal to go. So bowl season's been a little like iffy for me. I'm like around even. So I got, hopefully we get a little hot here.
All right. Get hot to finish off the bowl season. And we got some picks for bowls tonight, including the Holiday Bowl, which is the game of the night, UNC against Oregon. We'll see what the community's on. I gotta judging based on my Twitter feed, seems like I'm gonna guess that the poll is gonna be on Oregon tonight because my entire Twitter feed is all Oregon, all Ducks tonight.
Quack.
Well, maybe not. We'll see. So that's the game of the night, and like I said, bold prediction is, and also we're gonna give out our best bets for tonight. I got 3 college basketball totals for tonight. Reed, you got what do you have? You got college basketball, you got an NBA player prop, your Brooklyn Nets prop of the night, and you also have a pick for the Texas Bowl.
Oh yeah, between the Texas other Tech bowl game, the forgotten bowl of tonight's slate. So little spread out, and then I imagine next time we do the show, all college basketball.
Yes, I noticed that you haven't complimented my outfit. This is the sharpest dressed I've looked on this show in the entire history of it.
Ian, what an outfit! What's the occasion?
Going out for dinner after this, so
big night on the town.
And also, I mean, it's the last episode of 2022. You got to look good. Look good,
you
feel
didn't give
good,
me the
play
memo.
good.
I'm wearing like a black hoodie and I didn't clean shave or anything. I'm just like here to hand out some bets and talk some bold predictions for next year.
Unforgivable. All right, let's get into community picks as always. Let's start off there. Let's see who the people are on tonight. We'll start with practical picks at practical_picks. Kansas, Arkansas over 14 first quarter. This game starts in 30 minutes, I believe. So if you want to tail this pick, I think you got to jump on it now. Over 14 first quarter and over 35 first half. Both teams are going to score like crazy. Kansas 120th defense overall. Arkansas is dead last. Pass defense at 131st. And if you include FCS teams, they're 251st or to 254th. Wow, look at that. Tossing in FCS teams with them. Both teams might score 50. Clown emoji. Reed, which way are you looking? I don't even know. What's the name of this bowl?
This is the Liberty Bowl. I bet Kansas +3. That's not there anymore. And I bet the full game over. That was one of my first bets at 66.5. It's now at 70.5. I honestly agree completely with practical picks here. I think that this game is setting up to be a shootout. I mean, you saw the numbers right there. I mean, these are 2 porous defenses, and he didn't even mention the opt-outs, especially on the Arkansas side, and their defensive coordinator, Barry Odom. He took the UNLV job. So I think you're going to see back and forth ready to go. And, motivation, I think this is definitely on the Kansas side. First bowl game since 2008, I believe. So Plenty of motivation for the Jayhawks. I mean, this has been a great year for the school. Lance Leipold, his first full season, second year as the Kansas head coach. He's 4-1 in bowl games too. So, I mean, he has a track record of success. I think Kansas is really going to be up for this one. Really excited, especially with all the Arkansas opt-outs. I think there's not going to be that many stops, but I like Kansas to pull this one out in a shootout where, like, each team's finding end zone 5 times. I mean, 45-42 Kansas, I think is like totally in the cards. I think that this is going to be an awesome game. It starts at 5:35 kick.
Yeah, between this game and Oregon UNC tonight, might see a ton of points in some bowl games.
And honestly, Ole Miss Tech also has a total in the 70s. So all 3 games have totals in the 70s. So this should be an exciting bowl slate. And this is like the first, I think, like real, like true high-level bowl game slate with these 4, especially Duke UCF. That was a good game as well that just finished up.
Yes, I agree. All right. I like a practical picks. Good luck to you. Let's bring up the next pick. Omar Little at most def, no doubt. New Mexico first half -2.5. This is some college basketball action. This is New Mexico taking on Colorado State. Full game, New Mexico is a 6.5-point favorite. New Mexico, one of the final undefeated teams left in the country, taking on Colorado State at home. I didn't dive too deep into this one, but New Mexico makes me just a little bit nervous because of their undefeated record. When you look at the stats, nothing really jumps off the page for New Mexico, and they've had a few scares. They had a comeback win against San Francisco a few weeks ago, and now I just feel like from a betting market perspective, they might be getting overvalued because of their record. But like I said, I didn't dive too deep into these games. I kind of kept to the SEC slate tonight. Did you happen to look at this game, though?
Yeah, I didn't. I've had my eye on New Mexico because I bet on them earlier in the year, so I do like them. But this was honestly a sell high spot for me. I was looking at Colorado State. Yes. I just haven't gone around to it. But laying 5.5, 6, it just feels like this is like the top of the market for New Mexico, who, like you said, they're undefeated, playing well. First half, fine with me. I wasn't able to pull up a full, like their free throw percent. I was just curious, like maybe late in the game, can Colorado State get back in it? No, I mean, New Mexico, this team has been absolutely loaded, but Colorado State also right there. Really good interior offense. So maybe they could hang around late, but I think first half, New Mexico, if you're going to play anything, I guess get out to a hot start. But I don't know, like it just feels like 5.5. That's like the highest you're going to get. I mean, this is a Colorado State team that beat St. Mary's, even though it was a little fluky. We faded them. Played competitive against USC. I don't know. It just feels like this is 3 possessions. I don't know. It just feels like a lot.
Practical Picks chimes in again. Kansas game is going to be close to 100 points, if not more. That's kids opening Pokemon on YouTube. We discovered.
Yeah, what I say? 45, 42 is my. I just kind of shot those.
So what about some alternate totals in that?
Yeah, this game could be a like nobody's getting a stop last team with ball type bowl game, which like those are like the most fun ones. So I think Kansas ends up pulling it out, and I think the game definitely goes over. Safest bet for me is definitely the over. That's one of my first bowl bets this season. And I mean, the market's going with it. It's at 70 and a half and over 35 in the first half for sure.
All right. Love it. Let's keep it rolling. Let's bring up the next community pick here. One coming in from Chips Picks Daily. Always good for a good pick. I forget who we had yesterday though. But today's on Red Wings team total over 2.5. -120, a recency pick, like a recently biased pick more than anything. Wings have gone over 2.5 and 3 straight with a shooting percentage of 16.36% in that span. Since December 1st, the Pens rank 19th in save percentage and have allowed 3.5 goals per game over their last 4 games. Team total over 2.5, 10-5 in Detroit road games. This is not a pick I had on the show, but I do have a pick for this game, and we're pretty much on opposite sides here. I'm guessing that's Chip's picks in the chat there. That says Stars Preds under, because that was his pick yesterday. So another cash from Chips yesterday.
I feel like you guys always, I feel like, are on the opposite side of things. We are. He's a loyal best bet sharer.
Yes, but there is a way we could still both cash, because I'm on the overall under, the total under in this game, which is at 6.5. I wrote up my breakdown for that on FanSided today. But Detroit is, if you look over their last 25 games, they are better defensively than offensively. Their offense, if you look like expected goals for and high danger scoring chances, in the bottom 5 of the NHL over their last 25 games, in the top half of the NHL in the defensive side of those categories. I know he did cite shooting percentage. I'm a little bit cautious in looking at shooting percentage after the holiday break. I don't really have any stats to back this up, but I feel like if a team takes a few days off, because shooting percentage and getting hot with your shooting is a momentum thing, I find, more than anything else. Taking a few days off might cool off their sticks a little bit. But I guess there is a way we could both cash here if the Red Wings win 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. Red Wings would probably have to win the game, but there's a path for both myself and Chips to win our picks on this game. So he's on team total over 2.5 for the Red Wings. I'm on full game under 6.5.
Yeah, and we got the incarnate word. Whoever sent that in, the winning margin. Meanwhile, obviously would have been much worse odds, but I think who was it? FIU. They won by 5. So like it was the game was kind of competitive up until the end. There, we almost got 13-1 or something.
Yeah, so people missed that last week. There was someone who sent in Incarnate Ward, who is a huge underdog to win between like 1 to 5 points. And we were like, this is so specific, we have to tail. The issue was they got down by a ton in the first half. I was following along with the game. They were down to by 20 at halftime. They stormed
so
back.
They were never actually in it.
Well, they did storm back. They didn't make it a little close, but they just kind of ran out of time. They still covered. So if you would have just taken that info and just taken Incarnate Ward to cover, you would have been great. Didn't quite pull off the upset. A little bit of a stronger start, and they could have been right there. Yeah, they lost by 5, Stevie Pan says. So, and I think the spread was like double digits. I think it was like a 12-point spread or something.
Yeah.
So close. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's bring up the next one. Colin Lynch at C Lynch tweets, Oregon minus 13.5. They're a different class than UNC. This is the reasoning I see from a lot of people who are back in Oregon today. They just think it's just quite that easy, that Oregon is the much better team. They're in a different class. They're going to blow UNC out of the water. Obviously, we're going to get to our thoughts on this game later in the show, so I don't want to spoil it too much. Do you have any thoughts about this game without spoiling what your pick is for it?
Yeah, I guess like just on bowl games in general. Typically, like when a game gets steamed in a certain direction, it's highlighting that, the market might not be correct. Like Oregon, it was, I think like it opened like 10 or something, 9.5, and then it got steamed because like it was reported that Drake Maye was going to be in the portal. Then he comes out of the portal, but the numbers kind of stayed. But usually like when a number gets steamed in a game like this, where like motivation is questioned, there's opt-outs, there's this, there's that, there's all this other stuff. Like people might not want to be there. Sometimes you may not want to play back against it like you would like an NFL game when the backup quarterback's in. Like that. I know you're like the underreact guy, right? Like when Colt McCoy comes in for Kyler Murray, it's like, no, like play back against it. Actually, it's like they're overrating that. Sometimes in bowl games, I've noticed there's actually like not enough of an adjustment because like, you're adjusting 4 or 5 points, but you're not necessarily, it might actually should be like 7 or 8 points. You just don't know where they end. It's like the can of worms already open. So that's situational, and that's how you need to sift through the game. But that's just kind of like a bold thought that I've had over, the years I've been betting it.
Still hanging around under the, I guess if you call 14 a key number of 14.
No, that's key, Josh, right? 2 touchdowns?
Yes. I would say so. My buddy Josh chimes a nice Christmas tree. Thank you. Very festive, even though Christmas is other way. Christmas is past. It's not the new year yet. We're still allowed to have Christmas tree ups. I think we got one more. Community pick here. Fantasy wannabe at Action Noob. First of all, the reason why I brought this up is I wanted to bring up the second of his 2 picks. But come on, dude. Auburn minus 220 against Florida. Take a spread, man. Come on. Minus 220 on a college basketball game money line. To have some balls and take a spread. Holy moly. But I am curious.
Do it, like at least parlay with something else. Right? Don't like just lay the 220.
Come on, dude. We're not laying minus 220.
Exotic ways to get involved there and have them just
yes. But the other one interesting though, because Reed, so this is Durant over 29.5 points. Reed, we've talked about in the past. You've bet a player prop on every single Nets game this season. I know you're going to give out your player prop for tonight coming up on our best bets portion of the show. But what are your thoughts on Durant here tonight? The Nets are taking on who?
The Hawks, and Kevin Durant owns the Hawks. I saw it today actually. Kevin Durant has the second highest points per game average against the Hawks in NBA history. I believe Michael Jordan is the only other person. Wait, I know where the tweet is, but Durant averages 29.8 points per game against the Hawks. Second all-time, minimum of 20 games trailing. Only Michael Jordan, who averages 29.9. Scored 55 against them last year. Scored, I think, like 35 against them earlier this season. This was actually like this is what I was going to do as my player prop, but full transparency, I gave out Durant over points last game and it went over. So I was like, I'm not going to do like the same one, it adjusted, like whatever. I'll take a different one, which I'll share in a minute. But Durant over points against the Hawks. Yeah, they don't have a wing that could check Durant in his mid-range game. He's having the most efficient mid-range season of anyone in NBA history. That's like stats. That's not just my opinion. That's like there's literally like the most efficient mid-range season of all time. So I think Kevin Durant is going to get whatever he wants in this game. He'll go over. And just a rule of thumb, anytime it's below 28, so 27.5 or above, take the over. That's just the rules. Anytime it's 27.5 or above, you take the over, and it hits, more times than not. So, yeah, there you go. But yeah, I like Durant.
Now, question for you, because noted 99 percentile Nets fan, betting on a prop for every single Nets game. Have you taken any under props this year, or are you just betting over every time?
First, I'm not doing this for I'm not modeling these games. This is just me. I watch the games, and obviously I'm going to root for something. So I want everyone to be with me. And I'm trying to give out some betting knowledge too along the way. So I bet one under this season, and it's when Ben Simmons forgot how to play basketball, and he really struggled to figure it out. I took his under prop one time, and it actually hit. But most part, I'm looking for an over because I'm not going to root for an under unless I truly see something that's going to go under. I really believe that there's something happening here. Maybe it's a matchup or something. But honestly, they don't offer a lot of props on the Nets. They really just offer Durant. They don't offer Seth Curry, Joe Harris. It's typically just Durant, Kyrie, Claxton, and sometimes Simmons and Royce O'Neal. I mean, Simmons have been in and out of the lineup, so there's not as big of a sample size. So it's been kind of difficult to get down on these props, but for the most part, it's an over, yeah. I mean, number one offense in basketball, why wouldn't you take an over? This team is an absolute wagon.
All right, let's get into our best bets for tonight. You got a college football, you got your Nets player prop, you got college basketball. So you got a little bit of everything. I got 3 college basketballs, all totals. Why don't we actually start off here since it's topical? Start off with your Nets player prop for tonight.
Yeah, so to me, Nick Claxton over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I also played Claxton double-double plus 295. I think we bet this on the show together. I kind of mentioned this, but Claxton, there's no Clint Capella playing for the Hawks. I think Claxton is going to dominate the rim. He's leading the league in field goal percentage at 75%. So he's really just lob threat, finishing around the rim. He doesn't really try much. So, if he's going to shoot 75%, he gets 7, 8 dunk layup opportunities. That's going to be there. With no Clint Capella in the paint, Claxton's going to be the biggest guy on the floor. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities at the rim, in the pick and roll. So I think Claxton to get points. Rebounds, of course, no Capella. That means more rebounding opportunities for big men. So there's Claxton. And also the assists. He didn't have any assists against the Cavs in the Nets last game. But prior to that, 2 straight games with 5 assists. He's, being used more in the pick and roll, trusted more with the ball. And, he's kind of kicking out of that to the Nets, who are just on fire from 3. Like I said, best offense in basketball this season and in the month of December especially. So I had Claxton, to flirt with a double-double, maybe get a double-double at those odds. But, yeah, over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
All right, I like it. That's our Nets play for tonight. Like I said, 3 college basketball plays for me, all 3 totals. Let's start off with Tennessee and Ole Miss, and I'm going to take under 131.5. I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest. Everybody knows this about Tennessee. Arguably the best defensive team in the country this season. Stats would back that up as well. First in both defensive efficiency and opponent effective field goal percentage. But their offense, not so good. 233rd in effective field goal percentage. They also turn the ball over on 19.4% of their possessions. But Ole Miss is kind of similar. They're kind of like a mini version of Tennessee in this regard. And the fact that their offense, not really good. Outside, I believe, the top 150 in just about most categories, but pretty solid defensively. 57th in defensive efficiency, 43rd in opponent effective field goal percentage. And also, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong with this because I tried this yesterday and it backfired when I was on the under in the Marquette game. Is there a little holiday rust with their shooting? Do they need a little bit to warm up with their shooting? Maybe. We'll see. So I'll take the under 131.5 for Tennessee and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Also, start a league play, maybe a little bit tighter, maybe a little bit more physical. I think there's something to maybe early league play unders. Obviously, don't blindly bet that, but I think when the situation calls for it, that could help. I think you could see that. And also, these are 2 defensive-minded teams. So Tennessee, I believe they're still ranked number 1 in adjusted defensive efficiency. So I don't hate this look at all at the under, especially with home dog. I feel like this game could maybe end a little bit. What is it? It could be a slower pace and it could just kind of end more abruptly rather than, an elongated finish.
Yes. So let's hear your college basketball play. It's actually, I have a game. We both have a play for this game. You're on the side. I'm on the total. So give us your side for it.
Yeah, I took Missouri +3 against Kentucky. This is a Missouri team I've been high on. going into the season. I loved Dennis Gates, who came over first-year head coach, brought in a bunch of transfers, and it's worked out really well. This team's playing fast, up-tempo. The offense is dynamite. They press a lot of high ball pressure. And I'm still not there with this Kentucky team. Where is the impressive wins? Where is this team deserving of going on the road and being a favorite against a Missouri team that just beat up on Illinois? I know Illinois has their issues, but that's a quality win. They just won at home. So I like Missouri here. Start a conference play. I don't love Wheeler, point guard at Kentucky, who's going to be handling the rock a lot against this ball pressure. Sheboy's going to eat underneath, and that could be where this game goes sideways. But ultimately, I love the way Missouri gets up and down the floor at home. We're talking about holiday rush. We're talking about start of league play. It's kind of tricky to trust these teams on the road in conference play, laying a small number. I don't feel confident about that one. There's another one with Alabama against Mississippi State. Stayed off that one, but I think that Alabama could be in some trouble tonight on the road, tricky environment. I like Missouri here. I think that they could win this one too outright. I think Kentucky's being overvalued still.
Yeah, when I first looked at this game, I kind of like Missouri too. But the issue with Missouri, I mean, they're 11-1, but they're unranked for a reason because they haven't really played anyone this season, which makes me think like, are their stats a little inflated? Are they going to regress a little bit? Because I think it's only 2 Power 5 schools that they played. One of them was a 28-point loss to Kansas. The other was a 22-point road win against Illinois. So it's like, what version of Missouri are we going to get? Are we going to get the one that beat up on Illinois or the one that lost by a million to Kansas? So that is, I lean Missouri, but instead I'm going to go with a total instead. And I'm going to go with the over because I think there are some things that despite the competition we can rely on with Missouri. One of them playing, and I think you mentioned as well, that they play a very fast pace, 6th in field goal attempts per game, 14th in possessions per game. They are 2nd in effective field goal percentage, so they have shot well, but also will we see a little bit of regression now that they're playing against a much stiffer competition. And they both they combine for an average of 167.5 points scored per game. So that's well over the set total tonight by almost 20 points. So I'm not going to overthink this one. I think this is an intriguing matchup. I think we're going to get a lot of points, though. So I'll take the over between Kentucky and Missouri.
I think you make excellent points. I completely agree. The pace, I think also Sheboy is rebounding underneath. They're going to have some second chance points for Kentucky. Just to go back, though, this isn't to talk you off the over. This is more kind of show that this game might be tight, especially late. Projected close game, but also Kentucky's shooting 66% from the line. So maybe when there's like an opportunity to ice this game, they miss a free throw. Missouri comes down, extends the game, and this continues on and on. The cycle continues. So that could help this get over. But I think Missouri and over, I think those are both which ways. Obviously, I bet Missouri, but I also like the over there. I think it makes a lot of sense.
All right. I like it. Let's move on. You got a college football bet for, what is it? The Texas Bowl, is it?
Yeah, the Texas Bowl, and I'm taking the local I wouldn't say local, but I'm taking Texas Tech plus 3.5 against Ole Miss. There's now 4s available, so if you want to get in on that, by all means. But this is an Ole Miss team that kind of fell apart down the stretch of this season. Lost 4 of their last 5. Lane Kiffin flirted with the Auburn job. They laid an egg in their last game in the Egg Bowl. So where's the emotion from this team? Where's it going to be at? Because we know Lane Kiffin loves to raid the transfer portal, loves to kind of build his roster through there and import in new players. So are the players that are playing in this game, are they going to look to opt out, like, and transfer and do their other thing? They relying on transfers now. Are they that committed to this roster? Well, I know that everyone at Texas Tech is super committed. A lot of veterans on the roster, but also first-year head coach Joey McGuire. He just got a 6-year extension today. Had this team win, they won their last 3. Awesome defense. There's going to be a ton of plays in this one. Both teams are inside the top 15 in plays per minute, so I expect back and forth all game. So I'm happy to take the dog here. Lubbock, it is an 8-hour drive away, but this is Texas football. They're going to travel. Texas is going to have Texas Tech is going to have a big showing here. I think that people are excited that the Red Raiders are in this bowl game and they're going to show out. So I like Tech as an underdog. I think they're super live in this game. So I'll take the over, or I'll take Tech with the points. And again, this is a total 72 in the market now. So there's going to be a bunch of points. I think that, they could stay within this number. I think it's going to be close.
All right. I like it. My final college basketball play here. Another total. It is Florida Auburn, and I'm going to go under. So a little bit of a different pick than the community pick entry, which was just Auburn money line. I'm going to go under here between these two teams. Auburn surprisingly has shot worse at home than on the road this season. Their effective field goal percentage drops from 51.3% on the road to 49.3%. And then Florida, the opposite is true, much worse on the road than at home. 7.1% difference in their effective field goal percentage on the road compared to at home. So I think we might see a little bit of both teams struggling with their shooting a little bit, and both teams very good defensively. 20th and 56th in defensive efficiency, 14th and 87th in opponent effective field goal percentage. So, I like the under 140 in that one.
Yeah, I know you took Auburn under against Washington last week. I can't remember if it hit or not, but Auburn's offense is just terrible. I mean, you want to talk about rust coming back from holiday break. How about just the offense is bad to begin with? So, yeah, I agree with you. Pace will be fast, but I think this is going to be a competitive, lower scoring game.
I think, and I just need to look, I'm trying to look this up really quick, but I think when I took the under in Auburn, Washington, I think it was on pace to go under by 40 points at halftime, and then they both just scored. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. They combined for, I don't remember what the under was, but they combined for 54 points in the first half, and then Auburn alone in the second half scored 53 points. First half.
I'm sorry to bring up the bad memory, but
halftime it was 31-23. It finished 84-61.
Oh.
That's college seems basketball. To happen.
That's just college basketball.
That's it seems to happen a lot to me when I take an under in a game. So I'm hoping they don't turn it into the 2017 Golden State Warriors at halftime again. So tough. That's college basketball, though.
That's the grind.
All right, let's bring up the recap here for our best bets for tonight. 3 college basketball games, all totals for me. I got under 131.5 between Tennessee and Ole Miss, over 148.5 between Kentucky and Missouri, and then under 140 between Florida and Auburn. Reed, you're on Missouri +3 against Kentucky. In some SEC college basketball action, you got over 19.5 points for Nick Claxton. Points, is that points, rebounds, and assists?
Yeah, the good old-fashioned pra. I may have screwed over JJ with typing that in. I may have done just a per.
You did. I just looked at the notes, so that's on you.
Sorry, JJ.
Apologies to JJ. And then you got Texas Tech +3.5 in the Texas Bowl against Ole Miss. Let's talk bold predictions. Like I said at the top of the show, it is the final episode of Daily BetSlip of the year 2022. Next time we see you, it will be 2023. So let's talk some bold predictions. Floor is open for you, Reed. Any sport, any prediction. It's got to be bold, though. I know that you want to talk about how the Nets are going to win the NBA championship. I'm vetoing that. Not bold enough. You got to get bolder than that for me.
If there was a prediction for 2023, it would be that the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the NBA championship. But yeah, so obviously I host a college football show, so maybe we'll clip this social graphic and I'll pocket it for if I'm right. Even who knows what even happens with the transfer portal now in college football. But 2 teams that I already have circled for next season that I want to look at going forward, and I want to play them in the futures market. Obviously, I don't know where these prices are going to open up, but I'll say for my bold prediction, Penn State and Florida State are in the college football playoff next year. These are 2 teams that are trending upwards to finish this season, 2 teams that have top 20 recruiting classes over the past 2 years. So there's a lot of youth and emerging talent there, especially on the Penn State side. Top 10 recruiting class last year. Drew Aller was called on from the fan base at multiple times to start at points this year as a true freshman. They have another true freshman running back, the Gatorade National Player of the Year last year, Nick Singleton. And Michigan, if they slow up after back-to-back college football playoff performances, if Ohio State, maybe they don't find the successor to CJ Stroud, maybe Penn State's the team that breaks through in the Big Ten. And then for Florida State, not sure where this Clemson situation is going to go. I don't love either coordinator. Cade Klubnik's very talented, but Dabo Swinney, there's something just not right there right now, especially with how they're calling plays, how they're developing, and how this offense especially is running. So I'll say Florida State runs through the ACC undefeated, gets to the college football playoff, and Penn State emerges from the Big Ten in their first college football playoff ever. So, I'll take Florida State and Penn State as 2 CFP teams next year as my bold predictions. If this doesn't happen, no one will remember it. But if it does happen, though, you could better believe that this will be on social on all platforms.
I like it. You do have to consider, though, Florida State to make the college football playoff is going to have to get past Clemson, as you mentioned. And Clemson, they have Jesus on their side, apparently, according to Dabo Sweeney. Building the program in God's name, image, and likeness. God bless.
He's the worst. He's like actually the worst. And it's so bad too, because I backed them a lot this season, and I would just watch how brutal they were. Oh, I hate that guy. Can't stand Dabo.
Not to make this into a religious topic, but Clemson's not they're not like a religious school, are they?
Don't believe it's like a Catholic. I mean, I imagine
it's not like a Catholic
it's predominantly school Catholic people that go there, but I don't believe it's like a religious school by its foundations.
Shout out Dabo Sweeney though, all-time quote. The quote is, "We built this program in NIL, probably different than what you're thinking though. We built it on God's name, image, and likeness." Love it. If either Florida State or Penn State make the college football playoff, I'll give you credit for that bold prediction.
Yeah, I don't even know the number, so I mean, who knows how they're rated in the market, but we'll see. Those are two teams I'm going to be playing on next season in the futures market in some capacity.
Practical Picks does say Clemson 2 times better next year without DJ, though.
Yeah, obviously Cade Klubnik is very talented, but I'm also just curious, what about the play calling? Brand Streeter wasn't very impressive in my opinion this season. They're going to need to rework that offense. So I was skeptical going into this season about Clemson, and I got to see it to believe it, even though I do like Cade Klubnik. I just don't know if the talent around him is going to be better. I mean, Florida State this season closed on a tear. I think they scored 40 or more in 6 straight to close the season. So they're bringing back a host of talent. It's Mike Norvell's 4th season, I think it will be. So it's go time there, and they have a lot of talent there. So I think Florida State's going to be very, very competitive next season in the ACC.
Started off the year with a win over LSU, which looked like a very good win by the end of the season as well. So
yeah, they're going to finish I think they're 8-4 this season. They're laying double digits to Oklahoma in a bowl game. I think they're going to crush them there. There's a bowl pick for me also at Florida State. Jordan Travis coming back, Verse coming back. I think that this team is really, really talented and going to take off next season.
All right, my bold prediction. I'm looking at the NFL. I think the New York Jets are going to win the AFC East next football season.
Okay.
This is a team that I've been on all season. They have let me down. They're likely not going to make the playoffs. But that's because Mike White got out. I did not have faith in Zach Wilson. He proved me correct. But next season, with another offseason to improve, with another offseason to get better, with another offseason with a chance to maybe get the answer at quarterback, this New York Jets team, I think, is going to be even more dangerous last year. Main reason is because their defense. Their defense still doesn't get the credit it deserves for being as good as they were this year. 3rd in opponent yards per play this season, 4th in opponent points per game. So they have the defense to win the division. They need a quarterback. So hopefully if they can find a quarterback, maybe Mike White ends up being that guy. They could challenge the Bills for the AFC East. And also, don't forget the Bills are potentially losing some key free agents. Obviously, they could re-sign some of these guys, but guys who are becoming a free agent at the end of the season, Jordan Poyer, who I think is the difference maker on defense. We saw when their defense got cold this season, it was the games that Jordan Poyer was out for. Roger Saffold, one of their best offensive linemen. Devin Singletary, who the Bills all of a sudden leading the NFL in yards per carry right now. A little bit of an underrated character on their player on their offense. Tremaine Edmonds, Shaq Lawson. They're missing some guys potentially due to free agency here in the offseason. So I think the Jets are going to get a little bit better. I think the Bills might get a little bit worse. And I like Robert Saleh. I like what he's doing with the defense. My bold prediction for next year is that the Jets win the AFC East.
I don't hate it. I do think, though, the Jets are going to have, I don't want to say a superstar quarterback, but they are going to have one of the splashier names. They are going to make a big move in free agency. You look at this team, they're built on rookie contracts. They've hit on a bunch of defensive players, or even, throwing Garrett Wilson, Carter, Breece Hall
comes back.
Yeah. I mean, this is a team that's built to win now, like you mentioned with that defense. I mean, Zach Wilson clearly isn't there, but, pull the plug. He's clearly not the guy. There's no development here. Just pull the plug. You have this boatload and surplus of assets now. Go after the Lamar Jacksons. Even Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo gives them a substantial upgrade to compete. Stevie Pan in the chat says Bills could have a Super Bowl hangover. They get there. The Bills go through a lot of lapses over the past 2 seasons during the regular season. We see Josh Allen prone to turnovers. The team drops games very often. So I don't think it's outlandish at all to say that the Jets go in the AFC East, especially because I think that if they miss, they're probably going to miss the playoffs. I don't know the exact, playoff picture, but this is a team that clearly knows they need to upgrade a quarterback. They might have the best cornerback in the league already in Sauce Gardner. So they know that they are going to get the okay from ownership to say, hey, you could go splurge on a quarterback, whether it's in free agency or trade for him. So I think that this is a good and reasonable bold prediction.
I think if the Jets beat the Seahawks this week and the Dolphins lose to the Patriots, I think it comes down to potentially week 18, the winner between Jets and Dolphins make the playoffs. So Jets are technically, I think, still alive.
And Mike White's back.
Other things as well. And Mike White's back. So, but yeah,
that is my bold. Listen, Mike White is good, 100%, but I think it's pretty apparent that they're going to need, if you want to take the next step, listen, it's all fun, it's all nice, and listen, there are good teams, but you need a pretty small group of quarterbacks to actually make a run over the course of a season, especially in a division like the AFC East where, Miami's going to be, I don't think that this was a blip. I think that they're a legitimate team contender in the AFC East. Buffalo, we know, is going to be legit. Patriots are frisky. They're not the worst, for a 4th place team. They're not an easy out. So, the Jets are going to need someone with talent. I think even someone like Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo could get them over the hump. So I think that is reasonable.
All right. Yeah. So that's my bet. That's my bold prediction for 2023. Let's move on to game of the night. It's the Holiday Bowl. It's UNC. It's Oregon. We already had a community pick sent in earlier for Oregon. Another one in the chat. Kirk Gray says Oregon -13. Reed, you start us off. What's your best bet for the Holiday Bowl? And then I'll give my controversial pick.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Oregon team total over. It's so high. It's 44.5. I think that there's a lot to like on this Oregon side. I just don't feel comfortable laying double digits, especially with a competent quarterback on the other side and Drake Maye. I know that the OC isn't there. Josh Downs, their star receiver, opted out, but it's still, Oregon lost their All-American cornerback too. There's opt-outs on both sides. So I'm not I don't think this is some lopsided motivational difference. But where it really, really shows, though, is the UNC secondary. They are down 3 contributors at cornerback, including Storm Duck, their best corner. So you are losing a ton of weapons here. You're going to see freshmen, walk-ons, wide receivers at corner. This game is going to be ridiculous. And Oregon, the number 1 offense in terms of success rate this season, top 5 in EPA per play. I mean, this offense is ridiculous with Bo Nix. So Oregon's going to score. I mean, this is pretty much saying, 6 touchdowns and a field goal, 7 touchdowns. I think it's going to get there. I think UNC is going to be able to score. I mean, listen, total 76 now for a reason. I think Oregon is going to do a lot of scoring. I don't know if they're going to cover just because, it's a bowl game. Maybe UNC just keeps the pace and keeps going. But I think Oregon's going to score pretty much on every possession. And they go for it a lot. They're super aggressive. They have a sharp coach in Dan Lanning. So I'll take the Oregon team total over. I think that's the safest way to play this game.
All right, Oregon team total over 44.5. I made the prediction at the start of the show that the community would be on Oregon. The poll results are in. Surprisingly, UNC +13.5. So look at that. It looks like myself and the community are on the same side because I'm going UNC as well here. Not a huge college football guy, so I'm not able to dive into some of these picks as well as you do, Reed. But I think, if this game is going to be a shootout, that, in my opinion, leaves a back door open the entire game. If the UNC offense can score as well as they have all season, a 13.5-point spread, that back door is open all the way until the final whistle. Second thing, everyone shits on the UNC defense. I don't think the UNC defense is much worse than the Oregon defense. I mean, maybe they are, but even if you look at something simple like opponent yards per play, 108th to 116th. Not as big of a gap as I would have assumed before looking at the stats between these two defenses, and also a huge gap in the Oregon defense where they actually are significantly worse than the UNC defense. Opponent third down conversion rate, 126th in the country out of 131 teams in opponent third down conversion rate. Now they're taking on a UNC offense, which is the best or one of the best in converting those third downs, 14th in third down conversion rate. So they're going to be able to stay on the field. They're going to be able to score points. I'll take the points with UNC, which I thought was an unpopular opinion, but based on the poll, maybe it's not.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of points to lay. And like you said, first of all, I would be shocked if either team punts in this game. Whether they go for it, whether you know what I mean, like this is going to be an aggressive game. That's just how this game is going to go. So does Oregon get stuffed a few times? Does UNC pick up a few fourth downs? Like I think that's how this game is going to go. So, again, I'm not comfortable laying the points. Like again, this is similar to this Arkansas-Kansas game that just started, and Arkansas is already in the red zone in 3 minutes. So there's going to be a lot of possessions. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for UNC to get in this game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of stops. And, hey, if neither team gets stops, that means that a team is staying within 2 touchdowns. So I don't hate the look at UNC with the points. That's really the only way I could go with a number this high.
All right. I like it. There we go. That is the show. That is the final show of the year 2022. We'll be back in the new year. It might not be me in the first show, though, because I'm taking a couple days off here to get off the grid. So next Monday, January the 2nd, I don't know if we'll have a show or not. We'll see. It might be Peter and Ben. If not, I will see you on Tuesday the 3rd, and maybe it'll be you. It won't be you, Reed. It'll be someone else. Someone else is going to join me.
I am back Wednesday, and I will have an early Reed National Championship preview on Wednesday afternoon. If you want more bowl picks and previews, make sure you go check out the early Reed. There's still plenty in there with the final 10 days of bowls. Still plenty in there with Chris the Bear Felica from ESPN, now Fox Sports. So still plenty in there. Make sure you check that out. And then, I'm back on Wednesday. I imagine on BetSlip, but also early Read special edition for the Natty. We'll see who's in it.
Love it. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Best of luck. Gamble or bless. Enjoy New Year's, and we'll see you next year. Goodbye.